One moment. One moment. Okay, all set. Thank you.
Okay, thank you all for coming tonight. This is the ad hoc committee for the MMSD's Board of Directors, renaming Jefferson Middle School. So we're going to call this meeting to order, and it is 5:37. And I am Letitia Nelson. I am a co-chair, and Soli Rodriguez is the other chair of this committee. And we're going to first probably go around and just introduce each other, get reacquainted. And we also have some new members that have joined us on our second time around to try to get this renaming done. So Soli, you want to go next? Introduce yourself.
Sure. Thank you, Letitia. As Letitia was saying, I am co-chair. My name is Soli Rodriguez. I am a BRS at Jefferson Middle School. I have been in the Race and Equity Committee ever since we've tried. This is my 5th year at Jefferson. We've been trying to get this going and finally got it going. And welcome and thank you for being on our committee. And I call for Rigoberto.
Right. Good evening. I'm glad to be back. I'm glad we're starting this process again. I am a teacher at Senate Middle School. I have been in Madison School District since 2005 or 6. So I've been here a bit, gotten to know, moved from Georgia up to Madison, and I'm looking forward to seeing what we can do to help the Jefferson community. I will call on Antigone.
Hi, my name is Antigone. I am mom of 2 kids that have gone through Jefferson. They're in 9th and 10th grade now at Bell Phillips. That's about it. Glad to be back on the committee. Let's see, how about AO?
Yes, Ms. Cox, I can't hear you. Sorry. Thank you.
Does that work?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. So my name is Audra. I was an attendee of Jefferson Middle School from 6th through 8th grade. Graduated from Memorial in 2006. Moved to Houston, and then recently back working at the Madison VA, and wanted to be a part of this committee. And I will call on Letitia.
I've gone already. Miss Angie, you want to go?
Thank you. I am Angie Hicks. I am the Associate Superintendent of Middle Schools here in MMSD. I've been working in MMSD for 31 years in one capacity or another. And I'm here to help support this process and make sure that, you know, we're doing the right thing and doing the work of this name change. It's long overdue. And I will call on, Shadira, have you gone yet?
Hi, I'm Shadira Kilfoy Flores, and I currently have a middle schooler at O'Keefe Middle School, and my daughter was a People Scholar. She graduated from East High School and just recently graduated from the UW-Madison.
Emily, you want to go?
Oh, hi, I'm Emily. I'm currently a senior at Bell Phillips Memorial. I attended Jefferson as well, and I'm just very honored to be here with all of you on maybe making a very momentous decision.
I think that's everyone, Letitia.
Yeah, I just lost power, Barbara. You can probably see my glasses, but you can't see anything else 'cause all lights and everything went out in my house just now. So
Oh my
you guys
God.
continue going and I'll be right back.
That happened here yesterday afternoon, so it's going around.
Wow. Okay, Sully, do you want to start or do you want to wait? Oh, we gotta have your audio on.
Sorry.
Should we wait a couple
Okay.
minutes?
Yeah, just wait for a couple of minutes.
Sounds good. Thank you.
Mhm. What was next in the agenda, Barb?
Approval of minutes, and there's like 4 sets of them.
Okay, I'm back.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah, I'm good.
Okay.
Okay, so where do we want to start, Barbara? Do we want to start with overview of where we're at to date?
Okay, so Veronica is just joining just now.
Okay.
Let her get in. Maybe she can
Okay.
introduce, and then we'll have approval of minutes.
Okay, sound good. Veronica, do you want to introduce yourself? Welcome, welcome.
Hi, Veronica Crenshaw. I don't know what else would you like me to say or no?
Well, just tell me a little bit about yourself. Where are you special ed director at?
Okay, I work at Georgia Cyber Academy in Atlanta, Georgia. I'm a special education director, but I grew up in Madison, Wisconsin.
Thank you.
Okay,
Okay, now
just a reminder to the members of the committee to please have your video on if you can, so that the community can see you. I realize that there might be some technical difficulties in that area sometimes, but please try to have your video on if you can.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. Okay, so we want to approve minutes now from our last meeting, and I need a motion to do that.
So there's 4 sets, different dates, May 10, May 24, June 21, and June 28. You can do them all at once if you prefer, or you can do them one at a time.
Yeah, I think all of them at once, if someone would motion to have all of our last 4 meetings minutes approved. Motion to have them approved.
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes from our last 4 meetings.
Thank you. So a second?
Second,
Second. Oh,
go ahead, Emily. You can second.
Emily, thank you.
Okay, so all who agree say aye.
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 Opposed, nay. Okay, minutes passed.
Thank you. Okay. So item 3 is a little bit just to review very, very shortly, because we haven't met since last June 28th. Took a pause for the rest of the summer and a little bit into the school year, so that our members could be reoriented and new people could come on. So we've accomplished that. So I just want to take a moment to review a couple of things. So the charge to the committee from the Board of Education is the same, actually. Jefferson Middle School came to the board in February 28th. And then the Board of Education then approved the establishment of this committee on the 14th of March. And the charge is to follow board policy 6700 to move through the school renaming process. On top of the charge, we look at the board policy a bit. There's a proposal for naming an entire MMSD building versus a room inside a building. So this process is bigger. So the first thing that happens is the board establishes the committee of 12, including a chair, and we have 2 co-chairs for this group. And then what happens is we opened up the website for people to submit proposals, and they did so, and it was open for probably a little more than 30 days, 45 days. This was also something that was communicated out to the Jefferson community and the MMSD as a whole when this process began, so that people were aware of it. The criteria that the proposals have to follow are laid out in the policy. And we'll probably get into more specifics about what those are as we begin to discuss the actual proposals. I believe there were maybe 40 some proposals that came in initially. And this committee then met, and over the course of the 4 meetings that they had, they did act to take out 4 or 5 of the proposals because they were for people who are currently not deceased. So they do not fit the policy criteria. So those were taken out right away. That left us with the 38 that we now have. And those are the ones that all of the committee members have used a rubric to score these proposals, and the goal is to take a look at each one of the proposals that are left and narrow them down and get them to recommendations for the Board of Education. So that's the goal. So that's about the policy. The entire policy is there for everyone to see. And so there's a little flow chart that shows a little bit more about how this policy works. And so myself and Dr. Angie Hicks are the staff supporting this group. And as you know, Letitia Nelson and Soli Rodriguez are the co-chairs. So that's a little bit about where we started. There's a little bit about introduction to Robert's Rules of Order and Wisconsin Open Meetings Law. As a group, I think it's just, good for the committee members to know that you can't conduct any of the business of this committee anywhere but in an open meeting like this. And what makes this an open meeting is we are on YouTube for everyone to see and hear. And we also record these meetings, we take minutes, and we distribute all of that information. So everyone has access to all of the documents that you have, and everyone can see and hear all of your discussions. So that makes it fits into our requirements for how we hold a public meeting. And so a little bit about the discussion that happened early on was mechanical about how this works. And then we just had trouble keeping everybody at the meeting. So we felt it would be better to do it during the school year when everybody was a little bit more oriented. Sometimes it's difficult during the summer for people to focus on work like this. And it also is nice for the community to have it happening during the school year, because as you know, people are coming and going a lot during the summer. So I think we will reach more people this way. If anybody has any questions on any of that, please let me know. Otherwise, I will move on to the research item 5.1 of the agenda. Okay, I will take that as an okay, go ahead. So research conducted on the proposed names. All of these documents inside board docs are available to anyone to see. We always contract with an outside person who is a professional researcher who did all this information on all the names that we have left. So you would just need to click on the document. And then you will be able to see a combined PDF file of all of the research conducted on this particular name. The person who did the research is not actually at the meeting and doesn't participate in this. That is her sole responsibility, is to get as much information as possible and provide that to the committee members for their reference, you know, during the discussions about the items and also prior to each of the meetings. So there's a lot of information here, obviously, that hopefully committee members have been able to peruse at their leisure, not just during the meeting. So we don't go through this individual research at the meetings. It really is just there for committee members to reference as we discuss. And this is just strictly factual information that is provided for your reference. So that's actually the research item 5.1. Just wanted to make sure the community was aware that we had all of this information. So then we get to the really fun part about talking about the process for deliberating on the proposals and the use of the rubric, and then we will move into the actual deliberation. So first we'll talk process a little bit, maybe have people speak to the rubric and the fact that they all have a rubric in front of them as they talk about these names, and that the actual proposals are here as well for the community to view. It responds to all of the questions that are in the board policy, so that's what qualifies them as a proposal at this point. But the committee members will now dive into each one of the proposals and look at it and discuss about whether or not it meets all the criteria and how they feel about it moving forward, and how it stacks up against the other proposals. I also want to point out that in item 6.2, I have supplied the link to a ranked choices piece of software that will be carried on by the co-chairs, so that when members do actually get down to talking about the actual proposals and making motions on these, that we will be able to use this ranking tool as we get further into the process, and co-chairs will be able to explain that in more detail. I do want to point out that we do have a document here that shows the average scores that each of the proposals made by 11 of the committee members. So those numbers here that I am showing you are average scores of all 11 members for every single proposal that is left. Also, that as you go through the discussions for these proposals, I will be able to either take away some of these names or whatever the committee directs in whatever action they take, we'll be able to change this as we go through the discussion process. So I'm going to stop sharing now. So I believe that we are formally on item 6.2, deliberations on the proposals, or you can, let's back up for a second and make sure that people are very comfortable with the process for deliberating on the proposals and the use of the rubric. So any questions from anyone, or maybe the co-chairs want to give a little brief introduction to that?
Sally, you want to go or you want me to go?
Go ahead, Letitia.
Okay, so as we've looked at the proposals that are here, I think there's lots of ways we can tackle actually deliberating on all of the information. Love to hear from you as a group to see how you want to do it. We have a lot of numbers here, and they're ranked in order of everybody's ranking. So we start all the way at 1 point. I think the lowest score is like a 1.18, well, actually 109, and it goes all the way up to a 376. And so we can go each one of these one by one if you'd like, or we can have conversation around, is there a grouping that we want to, a score that we want to eliminate off the bat or not, or how do you all want to handle doing this? Because we can look at each one of them separately, or Rigoberto?
Yeah, I was wondering, especially since we have new members,
Yeah.
because we had issues with the rubric.
Mm-hmm.
And I was wondering if we could talk about those changes and why. I don't know, maybe I'm moving us down a rabbit hole or something, but
No.
I just want us to make sure that we're all clear, myself included, not just the people who are new to our system, our process, what we're doing, because I think there were questions about the ranked choice in the spring too.
Yeah.
And so I was just, I don't want to move forward without everyone on board being on the same page in terms of what we
that
think.
makes sense.
That's my point of view. So
Barbara, you want to explain what happened with the rubric?
So I'm going to
Last
share the
fall,
rubric
spring.
here for a second. Yes, I'm happy to do that. So the actual outcome of the rubric did not change. The format of the rubric changed. So the concept is not any different, but I want to show you what the rubric looks like. All this does, the rubric does, is take the questions that are actually in the board policy about the proposals. And it has boxes here for each of the proposals has their own rubric. So you use the same rubric every single time you look at a proposal. So that means that each of the members on this committee have 38 rubrics that they can look at as they are speaking to this. What they then, after they looked at this rubric, they gave to me, not these rubrics, but they gave me what looks like a scoring sheet where they assigned a number from 0 to 5 for each of those proposals. And then I combined everyone's proposals to get this number in the average score of this column that you can see on this tabulator. So how we got to that is what it used to have on here. I believe people could give it a number from 1 to 5 each one of these boxes. And then I think one person actually took that number and then added them up for each of them. And so the score that they were getting here at the very bottom, which is the one that translates to this tabulator document, they were giving it a number like 8, 10, 12, 16, whatever their numbers were adding up to. And that really wasn't what we were looking for. We were really just wanting each of the committee members to go through each question. For example, let's start with this question right here. If a person, describe why this person is considered prominent. Prominent is defined as widely and popularly known. If I were looking at a proposal and I read it and I thought that it met the criteria, I would judge, okay, does it not meet, does it meet, or does it exceed? So if you have a score down here at the bottom between 1 and 5 that you want to assign to the entire proposal, I would look at all of the checked boxes that I had on this document to say, okay, this one looks like it falls between, like a 3. It looks like it really meets the criteria, but I don't agree that it exceeds. So it's a very subjective document for each person to use. They can put in whatever comments they wanted to on each policy question. And what this rubric did this time was take out things that people didn't have to look at, like, okay, do we have to decide if this was a deceased person or not? Because we were past that point. So This put the rubric on one page, and also made it very clear what we were actually looking for was each proposal looked at each of these 4 questions and for each member to say, okay, this is where I felt that it landed, and assign a score between 1 and 5 right here in this box, and then provide that number to me in a tabulated response, and then I just averaged them. So I would not say that the rubric changed a whole lot. I think that what really did is try to make it easier to use. And the comments that were made in the committee meetings early on were all taken into consideration, and all were addressed. And this rubric was shared with this group probably at the beginning of this month, so that everybody could see what changes had been made. And also we had to ask the new members of this committee to use this rubric to provide their scores. So essentially, we had most of the people that were part of this committee had already submitted their scores prior to the pause, but then the new members needed to do that as well. And the committee discussed this rubric and said, okay, we're good with using what we have, but they wanted to spruce it up for future uses for other renamings that will probably be happening for other schools. And so I believe that we did, in fact, improve the rubric so that it's less, there shouldn't be any ambiguity with it. And then everybody has a chance to just submit that score on the bottom from 1 to 5.
Right. Thank you. I was just, when you said the word subjective, that answered a lot, I think, for me. Rubrics, usually, at least the way I use them, have specific criteria, like what is prominent and what is not. And so if it's subjective, then that's up to what we feel is prominent. So that explains a lot. Thank you.
You're welcome.
More questions before we move forward? Okay. Do we want to talk about how we're going to tackle reviewing all of these proposed names? Anyone, everyone? Go ahead, Ms. Cox.
So one of the things that I noticed was that there were 2 names that were repetitive. So I think we should eliminate those right away and leave the highest score from each of those names. That way, that cuts us down to probably about 6 at that point.
That's a good idea. Does anyone else want to have something to comment about that? Shadera, you good?
I'm good.
Okay.
I'd like
okay.
to make a recommendation after that one.
Okay, so the first thing, so I guess what we have to do is vote on that's what everybody wants to do. Just to make sure that everybody's voice is heard in this meeting. So we're saying any repetitive names that we see, we're going to take the highest score from those repetitive names, leave that one, eliminate the others to take them off the list. So someone has to motion to do that.
Well, I'm sorry, just before we do that, just for
Yeah.
purposes of the community,
Yeah,
I would like to show the ranking so that we
Yeah.
can see that.
so we can see which names those are.
Yes.
Okay,
So just 1 second.
okay.
So was that Ms. Cox that
Yes.
suggested? Thank you. So I
Yep.
want to clarify with you, Ms. Cox, are we talking about the Thomas Jefferson, the 1, 2, and 3? Actually, I think there were
There's 4.
4.
Yeah.
Correct.
There are 4.
Yeah.
So if everybody can see my list here,
Yeah.
and this is just for members of the community.
Yep.
Thomas Jefferson's name, there were 4 different proposals for that same name.
Mhm.
And as you can see on this list, 1.18, 1.82. So the highest ranking proposal for Thomas Jefferson is the 1.82. Does everyone agree with that?
Yep.
Okay, so that would be the Thomas Jefferson proposal number 1. But yes, if you want to go ahead and make that motion, that would be great.
Can I make a comment?
Go ahead.
I'm just wondering because Eston Hemmings Jefferson as well.
Yeah.
One, he's Eston Jefferson. And there's like actually more. I'm just wondering if averaging those might make sense, because if you look at what people proposed, people voted on that. Or we can go with the highest. So I'm fine with either way. I'm just kind of wondering what would be the fairest way of combining these numbers. So
I think because they're all separate proposals from different people, I wonder if that would be a fair assessment overall, Barbara? Because they're all from different folks?
They are, and that makes them each unique. Yes,
Unique,
yes, it
yeah.
does.
okay.
Mhm.
All right.
And each name has been evaluated by all 11 or 12 of you that many times over. So
Yeah.
I don't know that it makes much sense to average the numbers that
Okay.
are left in this ranking, but I thank you for that suggestion.
Yeah, I was just noticing so many times people propose these names. So
Uh-huh.
Yeah, and I think that going with the highest ranking one gives that name its best chance
Yeah.
because it's given the highest ranking. And I just want to note historically, we had kind of made this suggestion previously about consolidating.
We did.
And I believe that we were waiting for the rankings in order to do so. And
Mhm.
so, because I think what we were saying before was, let's see what people say about them.
Mhm.
And so going with the highest one kind of preserves that thinking before and also allows us to do what we were trying to do before, which is to see how well they fared.
Yeah, thank you, Maxine, for that reminder. That we did talk about that. So Barbara, we have a 4 for Easton Hemmings Jefferson too, a 1, 2, 3, and a 4.
So I think we need to do this one at a time. We'll just
Okay.
do Thomas Jefferson names
Okay.
first. Okay.
Can I just interject that I think there are actually some more repeats because the Thomas Jefferson, like 1, 2, and 3, and then the next one's Jefferson. I'm assuming that that's Thomas Jefferson. I don't know if we should assume that or not, but and then there's an Easton Hemming or Easton Jefferson that doesn't include the Hemmings part, so I don't, or Easton Hemmings. I'm sorry. So do
Okay.
we want
Yeah, and
to
there's
those in this or not?
There's an Easton
question.
Jefferson too.
yeah. There are a few last
Right,
names.
there's an Easton Jefferson and an Easton Hemmings, yeah. Just to confuse us all.
Yeah,
Yes,
but those would
if
be
you just give me
different
one
names,
moment
though.
here. I'm going to pull up the actual proposals
Okay.
because I want to be crystal clear what we're talking about here. And then I also want to add a column to the spreadsheet so that they match the proposal number. So
Okay.
give me a moment to do that.
I would just like to clarify something. I am all for going for the highest ranking one, but also we had previously discussed in our earlier meetings about eliminating Thomas Jefferson completely, because if we're talking about renaming, why is Thomas Jefferson even there?
Yeah, that's right, Soli.
That was what I was hoping to discuss after the proposal.
Yes, I'll be right back to you. One moment. Okay. So for purposes of clarity, I put the number of the proposal here in the left side. And so if we are looking at the actual proposals, I think from this list, yes, we need to look at Thomas Jefferson 6, 7, and 8, and 9. And there's one closer to the bottom, number 23. So if we go back to the actual proposals, I'm going to first go to proposal number 6. And this is the first item. So proposal number 6 actually received the highest rating. Let's see, the Jefferson was 1.55. Yes, so Thomas Jefferson, this number 6, received the highest rating of 1.82 out of the other 4. So I do want to look at the Jefferson one, number 9, just to be clear that we are still talking about Jefferson Middle School, and that we are in fact referring to Thomas Jefferson like we were with all the other ones. You can see here that the person that was their intention. So yes, that proposal probably should be considered in this motion together with the other 4. Does everyone agree with that conclusion? Okay, so then if we're all good about that, then I think we probably can take a motion that comes in the form of saying what we're doing. So we're taking the duplicate names for Thomas Jefferson, and those would be proposals 6, 7, 8, 9, and 23, in favor of retaining just proposal number 6 as the highest ranked proposal for that name.
Can I ask a question, Barb?
Yeah. Oh, yes.
So if we did that, I mean, going back to what Miss Soley said about the name change, and while if it's gonna stay in there as an option, then why are we doing this?
Because the committee really as a group has not unanimously or in any other vote decided that Thomas Jefferson was not going to be considered.
Okay.
So this is step 1. Thomas Jefferson will still be considered until the committee says that no, that is no longer a proposal that they wish to consider. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yes.
All right.
So Barb, I didn't actually hear a motion made and voted on.
That's right.
So I would like to make a motion now that
Yep.
we eliminate all Thomas Jefferson, 6, 7, 8, 9, and the other 23, that we eliminate all of them. All of those proposals are null and void because we are renaming Thomas Jefferson School. That is our mission, that is our charge. And so I would like to put forth a motion that we eliminate all proposals with the name Thomas Jefferson.
I'll second that motion.
Maxine, are you the seconder?
Yes, I am.
Thank you. Okay, there's a motion on the floor for discussion.
All in favor?
Well, I'd like to say
Want
something.
to say something? Okay.
Yeah, I understand. And I've talked to even some teachers at Jefferson. The idea of renaming doesn't mean it has to be complete different change. I've talked to some people about I teach US history, and I love teaching US history. And I know the horrible things that have happened in our country. I've also seen the wonderful things that have happened. My parents are from another country who have come here. And I think we have an opportunity to provide a teaching experience for our students. It may not happen, and I will go with, I understand, but to name the school after Jefferson and his son. And to me, getting rid of Thomas Jefferson, ideally, I would love to see Thomas and Eston Jefferson Middle School. I don't know how people at Jefferson would feel like that, but to just get rid of, renaming doesn't mean completely getting rid of someone's experience and stuff. So I'm just throwing that out because I do talk about, Thomas Jefferson and the good things and the bad things that are historic, people who have done in our history and stuff that will continue to happen. So I guess I just am wondering, hoping maybe we can keep that option open, but if everyone else doesn't like that idea, okay.
I appreciate that input, Rigoberto. However, we didn't have that proposal. Nobody made that proposal on paper. So my understanding is that we're going with the proposals that have been made.
But the proposal was to rename. It didn't mean to get rid of Thomas Jefferson. That's my understanding.
Right, but if somebody was proposing that it be Eston and Thomas Jefferson, we didn't receive that proposal.
Okay, all right. I'm pointing out what I'm seeing and what I'm hearing. The renaming could be father and son middle school. So just an idea.
Rigoberto, do you understand what she's saying though? What she's saying is that in the proposals that we actually received from outside parties in our listing, none of them have both of those names together as a proposal for this group to actually vote on and decide upon. And so we have to go based off of the ones that have been entered into the system that are on the website in the way that they have been presented.
Okay, I understand. Thank you.
Is that true though? I don't know that that's exactly true. Is it right? I mean, I think we decide as a committee, right? If we want to choose one of these names that was submitted by the public, or we decide that we want to do something totally different. That was my understanding from our meetings previously.
Well, Barb, you can clarify, but what I understood from the policies around how we do this is that we can come together, have this portion, and then present from this portion the names that we want to push forward, and then the board decides. That's not our decision. And it's only based off of the ones that have been submitted through the website. Is that not right, Barb? That was
Yes, so the ones that have been submitted through the process are the ones that you are to consider. Now, at the very end of the process, Antigone, that does not say that you as a committee member can say, hey, I want the Board of Education to know that I think they should be considering something completely different. You can do that at the end, but it really is for the committee here to decide about the proposals that were submitted in accordance with the policy. Does that make sense?
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay, so yes, you still have a voice, but yes, you are here to look at these proposals.
Thank you for that clarification.
And to clarify, Jefferson by itself does not necessarily mean Thomas or Eston. It's simply just Jefferson. Is that right?
So in looking at the actual proposal, that's why I wanted to actually read it. That is proposal number 9, I think you're referring to, that just says Jefferson. The person who submitted that proposal is in fact talking about Thomas Jefferson, our 3rd president. So I can confirm that that is, yes, Thomas Jefferson.
Okay, thank you.
But the motion now on the floor is to eliminate all of the Thomas Jefferson proposals. At first, we were talking about just taking the highest ranked proposal, but the motion on the floor is to eliminate all of them. And so if there's no further discussion on that motion, then you are ready to vote. So go ahead, Letitia or Sully, who's facilitating.
All in favor of eliminating all of the Jefferson 6, 7, 8, 9, and 23 as a whole? Say aye. I got all hands raised.
Aye.
Okay.
Aye.
Aye.
And
Aye.
then
Aye.
all opposed, say nay. Okay, motion carries.
That is a unanimous vote. I am just confirming that. That is a unanimous vote. Thank you. Okay. What I'm going to do then is I'm going to gray out the ones that you have just eliminated from the list. If you just give me a moment to do that, I'll be right back. Okay, I just want to confirm that I have grayed out proposal 6, 7, 8, 9, and 23. Okay? Okay.
Okay, committee, what next?
I'll make another proposal. We can keep things moving, guys. I'm in a lot of meetings these days voluntarily. If we could now, I'd like to make a motion for us to now be able to consolidate the other proposals that are multiples. And to take the highest score of those multiples. To be the number considered.
If that's a motion, I can second.
Okay.
Consolidating and taking the highest number. We'll just go down the list, of course, but doing that for all of the ones that are multiples.
So if I may, I want to confirm with you, Shadera, that we're talking about 13, 14,
22.
17, and 34.
22, I think, is also him.
Yes. Rigoberto's right, also 22.
And what about 16?
Yeah, I think we have to check both of those to make sure that they're indeed talking about Easton Hemmings Jefferson.
13, 14, 16, 17, 22, and I think something in the 30s.
Yeah. Barbara, can you pull up the two?
34.
Can you pull up 16 and what's the other one? 16 and 22. So we can look at those proposals to see if they indeed mean Eston Hemmings Jefferson.
Okay, 13.
22 says Eston Hemmings is
Yep.
the son of Thomas Jefferson and Sally Hemmings.
Yep. 13. Yep.
14.
14.
Okay, 16.
16.
So that in fact is the same name. They just didn't. Okay, Eston
Yep.
Hemmings Jefferson is what they're looking for. Eston, well, this one says Eston Jefferson. It does
Jefferson.
not say Eston Hemmings. That's
Yeah.
very different.
Mm-hmm.
Do you want us to include 16 in this motion or take it out?
Please include it. Especially,
Okay.
we want to also, I think, probably try to help them be as historically accurate as possible. And perhaps whoever wrote proposal 16 didn't know that it was Eston Hemmings Jefferson.
In the proposal for 16, they quote an article from the State Journal that talks about Hemmings Eston being Thomas Jefferson's son, who's buried in Madison. So they are referring to Eston Hemmings Jefferson.
Thank you.
Mhm.
All right, 17, Eston Hemmings.
Mhm.
22. Eston Hemmings, 34. Eston Hemmings. Are we all good?
Mhm.
The numbers, okay.
Yep.
Okay. So I believe the motion on the floor is good. We know the numbers of the proposals we're talking about. Now we have to see which one has the highest ranking score.
One has the highest.
13.
Like 1 and 3 are tied, huh?
Yeah.
So, what I can see out of the proposals 13, 14, 16, 17, 22, and 34, the one with the highest score. Well, there's a tie, believe it or not. Okay, between 13 and 17. Does everyone agree with that? Okay. So at this point, we can eliminate the others through this motion, and then we can come back and we will deal with proposals 13 and 17 separately. Is that agreeable? Okay. So we will then eliminate 14, 16, 22, and 34 through the motion that's already on the floor. Okay, so then if there is no other discussion, then I believe you're ready to vote on that.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 All opposed? That was unanimous.
Very
Motion
good.
carries.
Okay, so give me just one moment to gray out the ones that have been eliminated. I can't always see exactly what you're seeing, so I'm hoping that you're looking at the ranking, the column, the 2-column document, the 3-column document. And I have just now grayed out 14, 16, 22, and 34. Okay?
Okay.
So then we are asking you to come back to specific proposals 13 and 17 and discuss. I can show you the proposals on the screen. I'll start with 13.
Can we discuss as we're looking at this?
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I guess I'm just wondering if we could, to me, it makes sense since they're so close, we can look more closely. I'm sure we're not going to come to a whittling down of everything today. Is that the goal? I don't I hope not, because I'd like to look more closely at what the names that we're left with. But if we leave these two, since they're tied, then we can continue with, for example, I would make a motion to remove any names that are 1.99 or below, and then we can like focus on the top scores for our next meeting, which will be a lot more interesting, I think, because then we can really narrow it down and based on our discussion, think about where we feel we would like to take these names for the Jefferson community. That's just an idea.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
Can we look at the scores again for a second, please,
Yes,
Barbara?
yes, you bet. It's hard to show them to you all at once. I apologize for that. I could try.
Rigoberto, would you mind making a motion?
Mhm.
For what
You-
keeping both numbers for for Eston Jefferson, or for eliminating 1.99 and below.
Eliminating the 1.99 and below, I think if we leave those two, the 1 and 3 for now, I think is fine. But I think for us to keep moving forward,
All right, so I will move that we eliminate all the names that have scored 1.99 or below.
I'll second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries unanimously.
Thank you. Okay. So give me a moment to update the spreadsheet.
Barbara, I believe 34 is also
Yeah.
supposed to be grayed out.
Yeah. I was gonna say the same thing.
Thank you. Okay, so from the ranking list, we have effectively eliminated number 1, number 10, 11, 24, 26, 27, 28, 31, 32, 35, and 37 with this motion. Okay,
Do we want to go through listing the names that are left just as a review? Can everybody see them? Do we need to do that or do we keep moving?
I'm happy to say them if you want me to. It's up to you. But we have-
Do
go ahead.
do we have any other items on the agenda? Action items?
Not really. I think this is,
I don't know about other people, but I need to go make dinner for my family. So I'd like to make a motion that we reconvene. That we end at this point tonight and that we reconvene and take up where we've left off.
I would like to look more closely at the names that are left. And I think that that would make our next meeting more productive. So I agree with that.
Oh, okay.
So is that a second?
Oh, sorry.
That's a second. Rita.
Veronica, lo siento.
Thank
Go ahead.
you.
No, don't worry. Just I believe that we do a lot today, so
yeah,
yeah, so.
So that I put that down as a motion and a second. Okay, if there's no other discussion, do you want to vote on that?
all in favor to reconvene?
Aye.
Aye.
All opposed?
Okay, so then that leaves the next meeting date.
Yep.
Um,
Motion carries, by the way.
yes, thank you so much. Sorry. So the next Tuesday is, I believe, November 1st.
Okay.
Let
me see.
Or we can do November 8th. If you keep with the same cadence that you had, you were meeting every 2 weeks. So it's up to you, the committee.
I move that it's every 2 weeks, because I'm in meetings every week. But I'm just one person. But I move that we would go to every 2 weeks if we need to finish.
I second that.
I don't need a motion on it. That's okay. This is informal. We're just trying to schedule the next meeting. So Tuesday, November 8th at 5:30. That sound good for everyone?
Yes.
I was going to ask Dr. Hicks about the evaluation and selection committee for the language arts.
Wait,
I don't have that information in front of me, so I don't know.
wait, I don't have it on my it's not on my calendar for that
Okay.
day.
All right. Thank you.
I was looking at my calendar. That's why I was like, oh, the 8th would work for me.
You're all set then. All right. Thanks.
Okay, so Tuesday, November 8th, 5:30. Okay? All right. I would appreciate a motion to adjourn then when you are ready.
Before we adjourn, I just want to make sure that everyone knows on board docs where all of the, just to reiterate, to look at the research around the names for next time, especially around the one that there's two competing, the tied score for Easton, Hemmings, Jefferson. There's actually a lot of really good research on it in our board docs. So just a call to do that again as we look at the proposals too. Just also look at the research.
Yes, thank you, Maxine.
Would it make sense to do the rank choice again now that we have a smaller group, or should we just use what we have?
I mean, once we decide on those two names, we can also use the ranking tool that we have, and it's so much easier. We can even do it live.
Yes.
And it's very
Okay.
transparent.
All right.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah, so I think that makes more sense. Yes, thank you, Sully. Thank you.
Rigoberto.
This was a very productive meeting, everybody.
It really was.
Sure was. Wow. Congratulations.
I know
think
somebody
we-
said, woo.
Yeah, I think we were just overwhelmed from the summer, the year, and it was like, wait.
Was waiting for months.
I will make a motion to adjourn.
I second that motion.
All in favor?
All in
Bye.
favor?
Bye.
Bye.
Bye,
Meeting
have a good
adjourned.
day.
Right.
Good night.
Thank you.
Bye. See you later.
Thanks, Barb. Thanks,
Thank you.
Oli. Thanks, Angie.
Oh, my
Yeah, thank
goodness. I
you.
feel so good about this meeting.
You're recording still.